Hi, I'm Megan and I'm going to be showing you today how to use your makeup with Dermaflage. I have my Dermaflage kit right here and I also have all of my makeup set out. I'm going to show you how you would use it if you were just going to use liquid foundation. We get a lot of questions about how to use it with liquid foundation, if you can, if you can't. And we typically recommend that you don't use it with liquid foundation, but there is a way that you can do it. It's a little tricky, but it will still allow you to use your liquid foundation as you would in your regular makeup routine. So I'm going to start out by making sure I have a clean face. My face do not have any sort of like moisturizers or anything in the area of your scar, just to make sure that it doesn't mess up the adhesion for the silicone. I'm going to take my color, which is Golden Fair, and I have my applicator right here. And I'm going to be using no mixing tips. I'm just going to self-mix it on the lid of my texture pad case. And I'm going to use this longer mixing stick that comes in the tools package. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to take off the top of the applicator. And then I'm going to put it on the top of the texture pad case. I'm going to express it out just a tiny amount, because my scar is not very big. So that's all that I'm using, if you can see that. So I'm going to mix the two together, the clear and the colored. I'm going to give it about 7 swirls. And then I'm going to use this little mirror down here. Okay, I've put the Dermaflage in my scar, and I'm going to take my finger, not touching the middle, but kind of blend out. And then I'm going to place my texture pad on top. And I'm going to press firmly around the area, making sure that the pressure is pretty equal. And I'm going to hold it for about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on if it decides to set faster today or if it takes its time. So I'm going to check the top of my dish, that little mixture I mixed together there, and I'm going to tap it with the stick to know whenever it is set on the lid. I will know it's also set underneath as well. So it feels like it's pretty firm in the dish. So I'm going to peek under the texture pad and see if it is finished curing. And it is. Okay. So now we're going to get on to the makeup portion of this video. What I'm going to do is show you how, if you were using just a regular liquid foundation, how you would kind of make it to where it would work with the Dermaflage. So I've got my just plain Bobbi Brown liquid foundation here, and I use just a powder brush, I guess, to put it on. You could use a foundation brush, whatever brush you feel like using. And you may also want to use a smaller brush than this, but this is just kind of what has worked for me. So I'm going to just give it about 3 pumps and go ahead and do the rest of my face. Now remember, I have the Dermaflage right up here, so this is how I would put it on my skin normally. So I'm going to go ahead and do the areas down here and kind of the other side of my forehead. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of go around here. So what I have done is completely left out this area where the Dermaflage is. Now, this is where you're going to get kind of precise with your application of your liquid foundation. If you have a smaller, like a foundation brush, this might be the time to pull it out. So I've got this other brush that's a little bit more angled and flat than this poofy brush that I use to put on my foundation. So with this excess foundation that I still have on my hand, back of my hand, I'm going to grab it with this brush, and if you want to put more for a little more coverage, you can. So I've got it on the edge of this brush, and this is where you're going to want to get pretty precise with the liquid foundation and kind of just take it right up to the area around the Dermaflage, but do not touch the area with the Dermaflage. So you can see I've left the area with the Dermaflage right there, and I've kind of gone around it with the brush, and I'm just going to kind of blend it in. Being very careful not to touch that little area with the Dermaflage. Alright, now you're going to get even closer with your finger and kind of blend around it. Okay, then I'm just going to take some setting powder. This is mineral based. It is actually a loose powder that's mineral based. So I'm going to take about that much on the end of the brush, and I'm going to give it a swipe across the top. A little light dusting across the Dermaflage area. Now, you can see, you can't tell where the Dermaflage is because I went up to the point of the Dermaflage with the liquid foundation, but I made sure not to touch it. If you do have a larger area, like an area maybe like that big that you would need to do that, you could kind of still work up to the points around it with that liquid foundation, just making sure not to go over the top. Then take your loose mineral powder or whatever and then just do a light dusting over the top. I hope this has been helpful for some of you all that maybe had questions with how to use makeup with Dermaflage. I know it can get frustrating and confusing. So we as women always need to wear makeup, or we feel like we do. So hopefully this helped you all. Thank you.